Welcome back, folks, to the Stockwell Eldridge Show.
Love this song.
I'm Jason Stockwell, Remax Results.
So we have a little confession. Jason was learning Irish dancing. That's why he's late.
Yes, and I love this song.
He was clogging. This is the song I was talking about. I love it.
This is the one you love?
Just fires me up. Listen to it. Just boom.
So,
boom.
Actually, folks, I was at a listing appointment in Chanhassen, and I know we've had a lot of loyal listeners. We have thousands of loyal listeners, and some of you may have been confused because you thought we were actually here on Sunday morning. This is actually Thursday. So we're actually coming out, full confession. We record on Thursdays. Occasionally we do live shows. So if we ever misspeak and you're like, God, that doesn't make sense. What did Dawn just say? Or what did Jason just say? Because we're here on a Thursday and this is recorded on a Sunday. So I was at a listing appointment in Chanhassen. Going to be remodeled. It's going to be beautiful. It's going on the market here in about 35 to 45 days. And the drive from Chanhassen to here takes a little while. And we're approaching St. Patrick's Day. I'm not wearing green. Everybody else, well,
I'm not.
Stephanie's been celebrating.
Stephanie's the only one.
And I'm not even.
She's been celebrating for the last 2 weeks. So,
I haven't, yeah. Well, I'm Italian. The Italian and the Irish were friends, and it's always a good lucky day.
You're friends with everybody, which is great. And Ryan Larson, Anderson Agents, we're excited to get him on the program talking about insurance. But first, a few announcements, and I know Dawn and Stephanie, everybody went over them already. But our friend Henry Morimoto from Minnesota Housing sent a note out. And you might want to reach out to Minnesota Housing because if you're a first-time buyer, if you know someone who's a first-time buyer and they need some help with some finances, then maybe we could use some extra finances or maybe a zero down or deferred payment or something like that, reach out to Henry at Minnesota Housing because they've actually increased the loan limits for that. So there's some good news for some borrowers and some buyers for that to help out.
Yeah, and we do those loans at Wells Fargo. Actually, one of the gals on my team is a top lender at Minnesota Housing. She does quite a few of those loans. So
yes, and they're great. And we talked about when he was on the show, they don't hurt. If you do it right, if you have a good agent to help you, they won't hurt you in your offer. Because this money's there, it's available, and if you qualify for it, you should use it. And they actually increased some money available for you on that if you know someone who's looking. And don't get discouraged. One of the articles that came out recently this week. So there's a few things I want to talk about before we get into talking with our guest is rents, and this could tie in with you, Ryan, but rents going up, how that affects buyers in the housing market. Mm-hmm. Second thing is if you ever feel like you just can't win, if you feel like you're against the wall and something's against you and no matter what you do, you cannot win.
You're unlucky.
Drink wine.
We got to talk about that because we've got some stories and some tips on stuff that will help you with that. But what this article said is that rising rents offer more home buying opportunities because rents keep going up. Mm-hmm. So what happens then is the renters decide, hey, guess what? I'm going to buy. And now the landlord may have to place someone else in the property, or the landlord may actually sell the property, which we're seeing a lot of landlords do now too. Mm-hmm. So that's something to think about. We are nowhere where we were in 2012 with nearly any purchase, where any purchase was a sound financial decision. Right now, you have to be careful when you're buying rentals. That's what they're saying. Don't get stuck in the
Well, yeah, and we were just talking about that a little bit before you came, Jason, just really how, kind of where the market is moving. I'd mentioned that the Fed had raised the funds rate.
Oh, that's right. But mortgage rates went down.
Well, that's what, what I said is,
that?
well, people get so nervous about that. And what I said is, as a lender and, we already anticipate that coming. So we've kind of already built it into the pricing. So it's not, I've seen people on Facebook like, oh my gosh, my customers don't qualify for a house anymore because the Fed rates went up and now their payment went up. And I'm like,
it doesn't correlate because here's what this article said. It said, although the Fed raised rates at the meeting, mortgage rates actually improved. In other words, went down because the Fed forecasted gradual future increases, calming the markets. So the markets.
Well, that's what I said. I was telling
we're watching.
The
last time they raised
the economic indicators, and we anticipate on what's coming. But that's the thing. Why we talk about experts is stop in, call your loan officer, or stop into Wells Fargo, and we've got all the information. You can even go to my website stephaniehavel.com and find out all the information. You can find out where rates are at and all that kind of stuff. But, that's where it's really, there's so many opportunities now with these millennials to buy a home or the new construction. I mean, it really is, a lot of times with the rates as low as they are, still can afford to buy for less than they can. I mean, even where I live in Blaine, they're renting out these townhomes for like $1,500, $1,600. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mortgage payment's like $1,100.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you would cash flow. So what that tells me is buy now, buy now. These opportunities won't last. You got to buy now. This is so urgent. Buy now, buy now, buy now. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. What other thing can I say that to get people to jump off the fence and buy? But
Well, until we don't want to get into, like I said, I mean, it is
these
a concern.
prices won't last. These mortgage rates
are
won't
going to
last.
go up, right? But don't also panic and think that, oh my gosh, the Fed raised the funds rates, forget it. No, I'm never going to qualify for a house.
Yeah.
That's not the case. Or if you're out house shopping, don't panic if you haven't found your house, because again, just talk with somebody at Wells Fargo or your loan officer, and we'll.
It's an emotional process.
Set you straight.
Yes.
Met with 2 buyers this week, both first-time buyers, and after I spoke, usually, you go to a meeting, you're sitting with buyers, and everybody's happy. After we spoke and at our meeting, I'm like, geez, what did I say? They were both, like, down. Like, because I think the realization of the
Of
market,
what they could afford, you mean? Or
well, not only what they could afford, but what's available.
The inventory.
The options
Sure.
available to them kind of set in, and they're like, oh. And so it just means that they have to react quickly. And if you see a house today, look at it today. Don't wait till tomorrow.
Right.
It could be gone tomorrow, and it may be gone tomorrow.
Well, and I think but I think that's too even a testament, Jason, probably to, your expertise. You're just being realistic. I'm sure might be agents be like, oh yeah, sure. It's, like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. You got to, you're being realistic and saying, look, there is opportunity, but here's what's out there, and it might not be right away.
You may have to pay over asking price. Are you comfortable paying over asking price?
Yeah.
Right.
Are you the type of person that just can't stomach when you see a price and then you actually pay more than that? Does that just make you vomit?
Right.
Then it's going to be tough for you, right? If you have to be a deal seeker, right?
Well, because we're seeing that. We
so-
talked a little bit about appraised values, and people, we're seeing it on purchases. Sometimes the value is not coming in at the listing price.
Yeah.
And then we have to decide, is the seller going to come down? Can they afford to come down, or does the buyer want to overpay? Because the lender, and just if you don't know this, I mean, if just a simple example, if the house is $200,000 and the appraisal comes in at $180,000, your lender, any lender, will only lend off the appraised value.
Right.
So we're not going to lend off the $200,000 purchase price. If the appraised value comes in at $180,000, we set your loan amount. If you're putting down 5%, then that's what your loan amount will be off the appraised value.
And that's something that, that's a frustration.
That's where closing costs can get tricky too, because sometimes people pay and they increase the offer by the amount of closing costs, and then it's
To cover it,
over.
and then
So if you can
what the
avoid
value
paying
is.
your closing, if you can pay your own closing costs, that would be ideal. Or talk to Minnesota Housing; they have programs to help with that you can qualify for. Inspection contingency. I don't always say, oh, don't have an inspection contingency, but if you can remove it, if your dad or your uncle, your mom, or someone is a contractor and they come with you and they look at the house and they're like, yep, fundamentally it looks great. We did an hour showing and we checked everything basically on a visual. There's 8 other offers, and we're going to waive our inspection and make our earnest money hard immediately. And we have a 20% down or a very solid pre-approval or whatever. Maybe it's an FHA, but whatever, a solid pre-approval letter. Even though you're not the highest offer, you might get it if you're willing to do that. Now, not telling everybody to do it, but make an educated decision. How badly do you want that house? Do you really, really want it? Was it built in the last 5 years, 10 years? Is it structurally sound? Do you see any issues? Yes, you can make a call on that. So
Well,
talk
and
to
that's a
your
good thing.
agent about that.
Talk to your loan officer about your pre-approval, because Wells Fargo, we have a 3% down. So maybe if you were thinking you were going to put down 5 or 10%, we could look at maybe you put a little bit less money down and then you pay your own closing costs. So again, that's where it's so great where the lender and the realtor can work hand in hand, because we can say, hey, what are you seeing? They want this offer, but this isn't going to work, or we look at other options for them to help them get approved or get in that house. So make sure, you're talking to your lender about that.
Yep, I would for sure. So it's fun. It's stressful. Sometimes you feel like you can't win. We'll get into that in the next segment. And maybe this is for you if you're selling your home. Maybe you're hearing everybody selling their home in multiple offers and your home's still sitting on the market for 80 days. What's going on with that? Maybe you're a buyer and you've written 5 offers and none of them are accepted. What's going on with that? So we're going to get into the next segment about some tips and some things that can help you get through that feeling and what that may be the cause of that. But before we get into the next segment, I want to make sure Ryan Larson with Anderson Insurance Investment Agency, Inc., gets a chance to introduce himself. One, say where you're from, what got you into the business, and then we'll get into some more details later.
All right. So, again, my name is Ryan Larson. I'm with the Anderson Agency. We're out of northeast Minneapolis, just across the river from downtown. I guess what got me into the business back in the day, back in 2001, 2002, I was working in restaurants at the time.
Nice.
And if any of you worked in a restaurant before, it is long, arduous hours and low pay. And so at the time, my fiance was working for American Family. She met an American Family agent that was looking for help, looking for somebody to come in and be in a CSR, customer service rep, and also do some sales. And my career has never been the same since. It's nice being able to I still work on the weekends, but not as much as I used to. The night times, again, when calls come in, customers need help, that's fine, but I'm not working till 2 o'clock in the morning.
So that got you.
Yeah.
Well, we do sometimes. No,
Well,
Is your fiance now your wife? That same fiance now your wife?
No, we did get married.
Well, don't laugh, everybody. What are you? No, I'm just kidding.
Well-
So what happened? I'm sorry.
Oh, we did get married. We were together for a while. We got divorced about 5 years ago.
Well, I was wondering if she
Okay.
was still in the insurance business too, is why.
But
where
that
I
got
was
your
going with
taste
that.
in the insurance business, and you've never looked back since.
Right.
Awesome. So, and then we'll find out what exactly you do and how you can help people listening and our clients when we get back. Ryan Larson, Anderson Insurance and Investment Agency. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
And I'm Don Eldridge, Remax Results.
Stay tuned, folks.
Electric Avenue. And then we take it higher. Oh, we go